Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the animation industry and this these union negotiations going on. And two of the guild leaders are opposing the contract over the AI provisions, which we said would probably happen. It seems like that's going to be a huge sticking point for them. And it's so ironic that this is coming out the same time that Sora AI is being released to the public.
Yeah.
And you know, you can see exactly what it can do now. Look, some of the videos that Sora producing not so great. Some of them are amazing. I mean, that is awesome. But then you get like this one was Yasuke. He's got two faces. I've seen people walking backwards with their heads on backwards, and look, it's got a ways to go, right? But as one of the commenters, actually I pinned that comment because it was a very good and accurate observation, said it's cheaper to hire one or two people to fix AI generated content than it is to hire 100 people to make content that has to be redone in the first place. And
which is why they worry about it, and I don't disagree with them for being worried about it.
No, I don't disagree with them.
I think they're right to be concerned about it.
Because this is kind of like what happened with the WGA, where they wanted a set number of writers in the writers' room because they were afraid that you're going to have one or two showrunners with Chat GPT able to crank out scripts, and they're correct. That's what's going to happen. AI is never going to completely replace humans. It's never going to completely replace people in the animation industry other than the people that are doing the grunt work. I think you're
right.
So instead of having, again, 100 people working on a project, you might have 2, 5, 10.
I think this is where we're a little bit different, you and me, because I'm more concerned about it than you are. Like, I think that it shouldn't be replacing people. You're more like on the business side of it, where you're like, well, not replace everybody, but if you can, streamline it,
you're
then
like
go
Anakin
ahead.
Skywalker. Well, if it works,
yeah, kind of.
Well,
so we kind of are a little bit different on this one, but I think that they're right to be upset, and I think you agree on that one.
Yeah.
To be concerned, to be right to be concerned.
This is one of the biggest sticking points for them is, will we be replaced with AI? And the language, as I understand it, in the tentative agreement basically left the door open. Like, we're not saying we're not going to use AI, but we'll let you know about it.
I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter what the language says. They're going to tell you it's fine, and then they're going to, like a year from now, replace you because they'll figure it. But until you guys have a chance to fight it and everything and be running out of money type situation, that they'll just get away with it anyway. So make no mistakes, even if they agree not to use it, they'll still find a way to use it. I have no doubt of that.
It's a 3-year agreement. That gives them enough time to build. And this is what happened, I think, with SAG-AFTRA. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer.
Dose of realism.
But I'm again, business background and art background. I'm telling you what they're thinking as business people. And what they're going to do is they're going to use that 3 years to buy time and come up with a plan B.
I don't even think they'll wait 3 years. I think they'll wait a year or two, and then they'll find a loophole. There's probably already a loophole. They're working on it now.
Well, look at what happened with the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. They were using AI as they were going on strike over AI, and then as soon as they got the contract ratified with the SAG-AFTRA, they went and they cut deals with voice actors to buy their voices. But look, they're not gonna be strong. The studios are like, we have to produce content. We have to produce content that turns a profit, and you're not gonna stop us from producing content. And the biggest mistake I think that the WGA and SAG-AFTRA made was basically grinding Hollywood to a halt the way that they did, because the studio heads, I'm telling you, as a business person, you're gonna be like, you don't get to shut my factory down. I decide when my factory shuts down. You don't get to shut it down. It doesn't work that way anymore. So they were like, yeah, you know what? We're never going to let this happen again. That's what they're thinking. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to clownfishminus.com. We got merch out there, exclusive content, and that content is also mirrored on clownfishtv.locals.com. So yeah, this is coming right after Sora made its big public debut. And look, people are posting some really wonky looking videos on Twitter. I've seen some really bad ones.
You really like that one though, because you keep running it.
That is amazing.
I like it too. It's pretty.
And it does have a long way to go yet. But again, you can see that you can at least get a base to start from, and then just have one or two people go in and tweak the work, and it's going to get better. This is launch day, right? They're going to work the bugs out, and again, in 2 or 3 years, this is going to become part of a tool. So, I mean, hell, Photoshop is already integrating AI into it, whether you want it or not.
I'm sorry, the one at the bottom. The
ramen.
I mean, heck, ramen's good. I mean, I'd eat it too if I was a statue.
But you know how many people it would take to make something like this? And how long it would take to do something like this? I mean, it's just a couple seconds, but it's not always going to be. That's what I'm saying. Eventually, what is going to happen is studios will be able to train their own versions of AI, which is what Disney's working on right now. They got a whole division. They're working on it. And they'll be able to input the models and input the backgrounds and input this, input that, pretty much input everything and then be able to work with it.
Do you know what I'd love to see them use it for? I'd love to.
I love this one.
What the fuck?
Squatchy and Gray.
Okay, you'd actually watch that for one.
Watch this show.
But two, what I'd love to see them use it for is, and it would be like recreating like ancient, like what they know about ancient, like the pyramids. Because, back in ancient Egypt, everything was brightly colored and stuff. You don't see that now. I'd love to see them recreate like what these things would look like. What, we could do a walkthrough of what, they know about a pyramid, for example, and how they can make it on the outside and the inside, that you can actually be like in a recreation of it. I'd love to see that kind of stuff, or historical video, or things that they colorize and then you could animate it, or like, so you can move through like something. That would be very fascinating to see. And that's not something that we can do it somewhat now, but it'd be a lot easier with like AI. That I'd like to see quite a bit. But a lot of it, back to the point with the animation, I can see it as a tool, and I think that there's, no matter what, some jobs are going to be removed. There's just no way. But anyway, even if you get a contract and people are getting more money, some jobs are going to get removed either way, same as we saw with SAG-AFTRA and the WGA.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing. Yeah. I mean, even if you get everything you want and they don't use AI, you're not all going to be there. But if they use AI, a lot less if you're going to be there.
That's exactly it. And like Hollywood, they haven't recovered. That like what we did a video was like 60 to 70% of Hollywood's unemployed now because they basically turned all the production off.
We said that was going to happen. We told you guys that was going to happen.
Every opportunity they have to save money, right? And so one of the greatest life lessons I learned as a kid was from a game of dodgeball in the 5th grade.
Did you learn not to get hit in the boob either?
No.
Because I got hit right in the boob and it felt like it was going to explode. Oh. And then that's why it got swelled. It got big because that's why they're still swollen to this day. Continue.
That is the origin of
yeah. Anyway, no, dodgeball. It does hurt if you get hit right in the boob and you're a woman. But go ahead.
Well, no, I think about this often. Like, you don't have to. So I was, again, I wasn't super athletic when I was younger. I got more athletic as I got older, but in the 5th grade, I was like one of those kids that got picked in the last, like 4 or 5 kids, for everything pretty much. I wasn't good at.
Yeah, I was one of the ones that got picked last too. So.
But I won that game, and how I won that game was I survived until the end of the game, and I caught the ball. Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do. Sometimes to win at life, all you have to do is survive until the end, or as long as you can.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you are basically, I think in this case with all these unions, and I'm not saying don't fight for what you want or whatever, given that you're facing an existential crisis, standing up, going right out in front where they can bean you in the head with a ball is not going to get you anywhere. And not all of your friends are going to make it to the end of the game. Right?
Well, that's just it. Not everybody's going to make it to the end. Just like we saw with the strikes last year, we said, you said asking for your pony when your dad's laid off is not a good idea. Nope. And then they went on a strike and they got what they wanted. But we said what's going to happen is you're going to get what you want. There's going to be a lot fewer of you who are going to get that, who are going to be left. They're going to actually benefit. And that's what's going to happen here. Now, I don't blame them for opposing the AI provisions. I think that they're in the right to do so. But I also think that even if you oppose it, there's going to be fewer of you, and I think they're going to find a way to push them through anyway. Yep. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's the reality. I think it's crap, but it's what they're going to do.
That's what people misunderstand when we talk about this stuff, is they think sometimes that we agree with it or that we're delighted by it or whatever. Sometimes awful people have awful things happen to them and you have a chuckle or whatever. But in this particular case,
I still feel bad, but that's just me.
It's inevitable. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, it's inevitable. All you can do is survive as long as you can. And if you put a huge target on yourselves, you're going to get replaced quicker. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the truth. And
they're going to bean you with a ball faster.
Exactly. You're standing
Protect
up, jumping
your titties.
up and down, and you're going to, yeah, exactly. Protect your titties, guys. You don't want your tits to blow up, do you? Variety.
Felt like it was going to. Anyway.
2 animation guild leaders oppose contract over AI provisions. This is the time to fight. Well, there we go. 2 members from the guild negotiating committee said Tuesday they will vote against ratifying a new contract because it lacks enough protections against AI.
Which I don't blame them on that because, that's a real big threat to animation especially.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, it's cheaper to hire a couple of people to fix it than it is to hire 100 people to make it in the first place. Mike Rianda, I think that's pronounced his name, the director of Mitchell's versus the Machines, which is very, very good. By the way, it was a very good movie, said on Instagram that the AI terms in the deal are far from what we were going for. Yeah, we wondered when we saw this, when we were talking, I'm like, they're not gonna go for that.
No.
And he opposed recommending the deal for membership or to the members. Studios can replace workers with AI. Yes. Studios can force you to use AI. Yes. Studios can give you AI work to finish on any timeline. Yes. We didn't get staffing minimums to protect crew sizes from AI job losses. This was gutting. You're not going to. I don't think you're going to. We saw it with writers. They basically met them halfway. Originally, it was like they wanted like 12 writers on a show. And then they're like, okay, we'll give you like 4 or something. I forget what it was. But
it was like 4.
It was a reduced number, right? And basically what it did is it put the power back in the pockets of the showrunners because the showrunners could pick people. And somebody that would want to be in charge of a project or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want you assigning people to me. Like I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'll just do it myself. I don't want help.
Right.
Help usually it makes it take longer.
Help and anti-help, and we talk about that too. And it's like, okay, now we got too many cooks in the kitchen. The union represents 6,000 artists, technicians, and writers. Reached a tentative deal with the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers. AMP tip on November 23rd. The ratification vote began Tuesday and will conclude on December 22nd. The union released the full terms of the contract last week, along with an explainer as to why the AI provisions were not more robust. Several members of the negotiating committee told Variety last week why they supported the deal, arguing the terms the best they could get with the leverage they had after 3 months of bargaining.
That's probably true.
Again, this just dropped yesterday. You don't think, and it was making headlines all over the place, you don't think the studios are looking at this like, well, damn, we can do dancing chicken cartoons. I can do a dancing chicken cartoon. I can make a dancing chicken cartoon. Might not be a good cartoon, but I can make a dancing chicken cartoon right in my office on my laptop. Isn't that great? That's what they're thinking. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they're thinking. The contract already includes language allowing studios to implement technological change, provided they offer retraining and severance pay to displaced workers. So they're going to replace you. They're going to get rid of you when they feel like getting rid of you, but they'll give you severance. Which, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be truthful, and I think this is going on in journalism too. If they offer you that parachute package, for God's sake, take it, because
they might not offer it to you the next time.
They might not offer it to you next time. And I'm telling you right now, things out there, if you're a journalist or a creative or what, it's not looking too good. If you can get severance, that's more than a lot of people get. I'm telling you, I didn't get severance. I was a middle manager and they shit canned me. And they're like, yep, see ya. you don't get anything. This is Marguerite Scott, another committee member who voted for the deal, said in an interview Tuesday, it's important to acknowledge AI as a threat. But the most important thing is not to panic. AI is not an issue that's going to get solved solely in contract
That's
language.
also true.
Be better than the AI.
There's just no way. I mean, they can do it so fast. There's no way people can compete with that. There's just no way.
No, it's John like, Henry. Have you heard John Henry?
Yeah. Well, he did, but he died.
He died. I mean, he did it. I guess if you want to prove a point and you want to freaking die, then go ahead.
On a side note, Ollie says Barbie, VTech, Hot Wheels, Disney Princesses, Nerf, and tons of Marvel and Star Wars.
Tons of Marvel and Star Wars, but they're not advertising that because that's not going to bring people to Ollie's. Yeah, we don't want to drive the conversation underground. She said we need to talk about this. And we need to decide this as a community. Again, your goal, not everybody's going to make it. Right? This is just like any other competition. And mark my words, I know people are like, oh, it's a community. It's a community. It's a community.
It's a community when everybody's getting. It's not a community when some of you you're gonna have to compete. You're just gonna have to understand that as terrible as it is, you're gonna have to.
You are in a highly competitive field. Your job is to provide for yourself and your family, and you survive as long as you can survive. And I'm not saying throw your teammates under the bus. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just like acknowledge that there's not enough room for everybody. And you've got to do the best you can do, and you got to work smarter and harder, and that's how you last until the end of the game. And then you leave on your own terms, right? But not everybody's cut out for that. Not everybody's going to do it. And this is going to be a huge eye opener for people. And this is going to be a huge, a lot of these people that, the fresh out of school, they think they're entitled to a job for the rest of their lives. And it doesn't, especially in the creative industries, it does not work that way. It doesn't. There's an ebb and flow to these things. And the people who adapt are the ones who actually make it to the end. I don't know what else to tell you. Does that sound harsh?
I'm sorry. Cool? I'm just reading down here that they're saying that they're talking about on Blue Sky. Of course they're on Blue Sky.
Of course they're on Blue Sky.
God, that's part of your problem right there.
I would say if you're...
People are scared. Yeah, they're scared. You should be scared.
You should
I don't blame you.
You should be afraid.
Yeah, they said they fought tooth and nail for a few small AI protections in this contract, but they aren't strong, common sense AI guardrails.
Disney's building an entire AI division. Yeah. Eventually, they're just going to input all the characters into the machine, and they probably will, to just add, insult to injury. They'll probably name the machine Walt. Probably stand for something.
Well, yeah, I know, right?
For something.
There's that yes, but means no AI protections for 3 years. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to lose it by after 3. Even if you're not going to have protections in 3 years anyway.
Take the parachute. This is coming from a guy who's in his 40s who's been through this shit in other industries. If they offer you a parachute, take the parachute and look at potentially life after animation.
Because a lot of you, even if the contract gets ratified, a lot of you aren't going to be there this time next year. I'm sorry. Yeah. Get pissed at me all you want.
Yeah, I don't care.
Especially probably storyboard artists. Get pissed at me all you want. I don't care. It's the truth's the truth. You all think we're just trying to be mean to you. We're just telling you the truth so you can prepare for it. So you're not caught off guard. But you don't listen. So I guess you get what you get.
There are veterans out there who can't find work.
But the veterans are telling you the same thing we're telling you. Yeah. But, we don't know anything.
Well,
so whatever.
They make fun of them, too. I've seen people making fun of, Tartakovsky and stuff and being like, well, he's just a boomer. He doesn't know.
Well, Ant and the Grasshopper, bitches. That's all I got to tell you.
Ant the Grasshopper. Yeah, exactly.
So here you go. Anyway, we wrapping this up.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say more. It's going to happen.
I don't blame you for being scared.
I
don't think you're wrong for wanting more protections. I think I'm with you on this one. But I think the reality is even if they give you protections, they're going to find a way to negate those. And no matter what you do at this point in time, I think it's going to be fewer of you on the other side. It just is what it is. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the ending of Toy Story 3. I mean, eventually you just got to kind of stop fighting, hold hands, and face the fire.
And jump, yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know. Let's wrap it up, guys.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.